works well.
It's a new great tool.
Exactly.
And what part of Miami are you in?
I'm actually west of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Nice and warm there?
Yeah, it's finally starting to cool off a little bit.
All right. Welcome, everyone. We're just going to wait a few minutes till everybody gets logged in. Good to see so many people joining us. Looks like the desire to travel is still there, which is wonderful to see. Beautiful night, dark. Hopefully we'll see some more northern lights. I saw some northern lights when I was walking early this morning, just fabulous. All right, welcome everybody to our Expedia Cruises Thursday night travel talk. And tonight's special guest is Terry Haas from Star Clippers. Everyone on the call is muted. You do have control of your video. We'd love to see your faces if you want to turn your video on, and we don't really care if you're in your pajamas. We have moderators that are going to be on the call, and if you do have a question, put it in the chat feature, and we will answer them at the end of the session. My name is Lisa Antlick. I'm one of the consultants at Expedia Cruises. These travel talks are being hosted by our 6 Expedia Cruises locations in the Edmonton area. We are coming up to 20 sad months that travel has shut down. And if you're on this call, you probably love to travel. Travel fulfills us. That's why we do it. And if you're like me, you are missing it. Good news though, cruising has begun. Cruise ships started, ocean cruise ships started this past June. We've had quite a few months of successful cruises in Alaska, Caribbean, and Europe. River cruises have also started to sail in Europe. Cruising is operating with the highest health protocols, and I truly believe that cruising by far is the safest way to travel. Most cruise lines now have a majority of their fleet sailing. At Expedia Cruises, we have had many clients come off their cruises, coming back saying how much they loved it, even though the protocols are a little different and the travel requirements are a little different and might seem overwhelming. Everybody's coming back with the same thing, is saying it was fabulous and it wasn't as hard as they thought it was going to be. Travel will be a little bit more complex. Now more than ever, the professional advice of a travel consultant is needed. Our consultants are here to help you navigate the new complexities and make sure your vacation is safe and seamless. I'm always amazed if people say that they book travel on their own. There are things that I could do on my own. I could do my own taxes. I could change the oil in my car, but I truly believe that a professional is best, and it's best to leave things to the experts. When you book with Expedia Cruises, you will receive the following. You'll receive expertise. There are hundreds of different cruise lines and cruise ships, and we're going to hear about a very different one tonight. And it is up to your travel agent to help decipher what is the best cruise line for you. In terms of pricing, you'll never pay less booking directly with the cruise line. Many times booking with a travel agent, you'll get a better price. With Expedia, we block group space on hundreds of sailings, and we can offer you the better prices as well as amenities. We are here to give you information on the protocols in terms of passports, in terms of visas, COVID requirements, etc. And we are here to assist you in emergencies if they happen. We also have the ability to plan the entire cruise vacation. Our name is Expedia Cruise Air, Land, and Sea Vacation, so we can plan more than your cruise. We can plan your flights, your transfers, all of your tours, etc. If you feel ready to travel, we are here to help. You may not feel ready at this moment, and that's okay, but I will tell you the time is now to plan. Studies have shown that more than 40% of the pleasure of a trip comes from planning one. This year has gone by, actually almost 2 years has gone by. My passport hasn't been used. My carry-on bag is collecting dust, and I miss it. And the term that we used to use of bucket list has now changed to a to-do list. I can't wait to start traveling again. Time has passed, and like you, I miss it, and I have much to make up for. So whatever your dreams are, Expedia Cruises consultants can help make them come true. We are committed to helping you find the best value of your travel dollars, and we will be able to help you with everything you possibly need. And best of all, we are located in your neighborhoods. Isn't it wonderful to be able to shop local? So sit back and relax, and let's start exploring the world and dreaming of our next vacation. I'd like to now introduce our special guest, Terry Haas from Star Clippers, coming to us from her home in Florida. Welcome, Terry.
Hello, everybody. So nice to have you all join us today. I can see some of you, and the rest of you, I know that you're there. It's a pleasure to be here. And I want to thank Expedia Cruises for featuring Star Clippers tonight. I have a very exciting and wonderful experience to tell you about. So I know you're going to enjoy it tremendously. So before we get, I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. All right. Okay, so imagine yourself on the teak of a timelessly elegant sailing ship. A warm breeze is blowing and you can see the captain and all of the crew at their stations. And you hear this beautiful music in the background and a breeze is blowing through your hair, and you hear the captain call out orders to the crew, and slowly these magnificent sails start inching up. And as they go further and further, all of a sudden the wind catches hold and billows one of those sails out, and pretty soon you are sailing soundlessly and smoothly through the sea and onto your next destination. It is truly an adventure and experience that will change your life. It really changes something inside of you because it is one of the most incredible experiences you could possibly have. So what I'm going to talk about today is about Star Clippers and why Star Clipper is different and unique and unrivaled in the industry. So what is Star Clippers? What makes Star Clippers different? Well, first of all, you can see by these beautiful sails, we actually use those sails to move the ship. So the unique thing is that we use those sails and sail under the power of wind over 70% of the time. So the majority of the time you are moving under that power of wind, and it is truly, truly magical. This is an experience, and an experience that is second to none. In fact, it is so amazing with these sails because we actually create our itineraries with wind charts. Because we move under the power of wind, we have to have wind. So we make sure that the places we go, there is consistent wind that's being offered in every destination. Now, if Mother Nature decides one day that she's not going to give us wind, we do have engines to move the ship, so we won't be stuck. But it is truly magical to be moved under the power of wind. And we take these beautiful ships and we go to incredible destinations all around the world. And we try to take a few famous destinations that you might see from in one of our itineraries, but we mix it with tiny little ports of call that have very few tourists, are very uncrowded, and they're very safe. Beautiful, beautiful places that become your favorites. The crew on board is like your family. In fact, it's going to be really hard after you've spent a week on board with these wonderful people that it's going to be really hard to say goodbye because they really do become like family. They're amazing. They work hard, but they are always there to make sure everybody has everything they need. And the other thing that's really great on board is it is a casual elegance. You do not have to dress up. It's more of a country club casual type environment. There's no formal wear required in the evening. We just ask that you don't wear shorts, you just wear slacks or a nice sundress, but it's casual on board. The owner of our company actually created these ships after sailing ships that sailed in the golden age of sail back in the early 1900s. And so they look very traditional from the outside, but in the inside, they are modern. The food is amazing. We have all Michelin trained chefs, so you will never be disappointed in the food. It's really incredible. And we have all open seating dining, so you can come as you wish. Obviously, with the restrictions today, this works out great because not everybody is seating at the same time, so there's plenty of space. And this really does feel like you're on your own private yacht. It is a wonderful experience where you can be by yourself, or you can be with a lot of like-minded people and really outgoing, friendly people around you. It's truly smooth sailing. Can you see yourself on that deck? It's really incredible. So let me tell you a little bit about the people that typically sail with us. People that sail with us are really all ages. They do tend to be mobile, a little bit more outgoing and active, but they're from the 20s all the way up to the 80s and everything in between. So no matter what your age is, you will feel comfortable on board. We have families that sail with us. In fact, we've seen a trend lately with multi-generational families, grandparents and parents and kids, not necessarily little kids. We really recommend it more for ages 10 or up, or teenagers, or if they have grown up being on a boat, younger kids are okay. The actual official age that we accept children is at age 3, but we really recommend it more for age 10 and up. But this is a great experience as a family where you can actually learn to sail together. You can do so many wonderful things as a family that you would not see on a different kind of ship, especially a big ship where everybody is distracted and going in their own direction. We do offer all kinds of celebrations on board. We have had people get married on board. It's super romantic. The pictures are incredible. We do a lot of celebratory travel, birthdays, people retiring. We've had people celebrating their 0 birthdays. So this is a great way to celebrate any special occasion that you might have. And the other thing we see with our guests is that many times they have taken a river cruise in the past. They might have taken an ocean cruise. It might be a smaller luxury ship. It might be a big ship. And we also get what we like to call the anti-cruiser, the people that said, I'm just really not a cruiser. I don't think I want to go on a cruise. But they see our itineraries and they think, this looks very unique. I think I might have to give it a try. And once they do, they fall in love. Now, obviously, if you are someone who likes to sail or you're like used to being on a boat, this is a natural for you because these ships are truly incredible. And I'll go into more detail about that shortly. 80% of our guests speak English. And the best part is, though, that people love this experience so much that over 60% of our guests that sail with us one time come back within 1 year because they just can't get enough. And once you're on board, you will understand why, because it's such an incredible, wonderful experience. So let's talk a little bit about what life is like on board. See this beautiful netting here? This is what's called the bowsprit. It's netting in front of the ships where you can literally lie there. And when you're in the Caribbean, if you look down, you can see the dolphins swimming underneath you. It's truly a remarkable sight. As I mentioned, we have a dining room that will hold the full capacity of the ship. It's beautiful. We will have a served buffet for breakfast and lunch. That's very, very elaborate. And then we have a full a la carte dinner, which is amazing. We have an open bridge policy. So if you can't sleep in the middle of the night, or if during the day you want to go and talk to the captain or one of the crew and have them show you how to read a chart, or have you take the helm of the ship and show you how You can steer the ship and how it affects the sails. They're happy to talk to you, and they're very, very personable and always at your call. This is a really exciting thing. If you are brave enough, and I say that because I still have not been brave enough, you can climb a rope all the way up to the crow's nest, almost 100 feet in the air. And the views at the top are absolutely incredible. I know that because I've sent my phone up with somebody else and they took pictures that were incredible, really, really amazing. So if you are brave enough to do this, this is something you won't be able to do on another ship. Of course, we do things like knot tying. Anybody know how to make nautical knots? Well, we can show you all kinds of them. So again, the things that you do on board are very different than what you'd see on the typical vacation. And as I mentioned earlier, you can take the helm and we'll show you how turning just a little bit will affect the degrees and the that you are sailing and how it affects how the sails are turned. We do offer a lot of local entertainment, very similar to river cruising, where we want you to really be immersed in the culture of the places you're visiting, both onshore as well as on the ship. So you will be able to see that type of entertainment, the local entertainment, right on board the ship before you leave at night. And we do also offer complimentary water sports, just about all different kinds. You can pick out your snorkel equipment the first day, keep it the whole week. We offer kayaks, paddleboarding, we have little sunfish, you can water ski. There's all different kinds of sporting equipment that's available for you. And it's not unusual, even in the Mediterranean in the summer, to have a really hot day, and we will, on the Royal Clipper, which has a marina platform, we'll drop that platform down and put the floats out, and everybody can take a dip and cool off for the day. It's really great. So let's talk a little bit about the fleets. So we have two ships that look just like this. They're twin sisters, the Star Clipper and the Star Flyer. Now that ship might look small to you, but believe it or not, it's as big as a football field. So if you can picture the front and the back of the ship sitting in a football field, goalpost to goalpost, this is a big, big ship. It actually has over 36,000 square feet of sail. So imagine standing on that deck and looking up. It literally will take your breath away. There's a little over 80 cabins available on the ship, so just a little over 160 people. So you're with a much smaller group of people. And there is a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of the crew to the guests. There's 2 swimming pools on board each of these ships. So believe it or not, it's big enough to have not 1, but 2 swimming pools. There's a beautiful tropical bar in the inside of the ship for relaxing, as well as outside. And this tends to be the meeting place where everybody likes to gather, after they've come in from port, or maybe before they leave in the morning, and just chit chat about what you're going to do for the day. We also have a piano lounge, and we have a baby grand piano on all of our ships, and we have nightly music that goes on as well. And there's a beautiful library with all kinds of books and videos, and it's just a nice kind of a cool, quiet place to go if you want to just get away for a minute and maybe get out of the sun. So this is a standard stateroom in our ships. As you can see, it's very nautical in decor. It's not the ultra modern that you might see, in an ocean cruiser, but we want you to feel like you're on a sailing ship. So we do have this traditional look with the mahogany and the brass, but it's very beautiful. The beds are super, super comfortable. The cabins do tend to be on the smaller side. However, they're built like yacht cabins. And what that means is that there's a lot of storage. And there's not a lot of bulky furniture. So you really have a lot more room than you think. And you're never tripping over anything because there's room to put everything away. This is a deluxe stateroom. It's a category 1. And these are larger, so almost like kind of a mini suite for you to enjoy. And they do have a picture window instead of a porthole. Again, portholes are meant by design. We want you to feel as if you're on a sailing vessel. And they're actually quite interesting. And there's been a lot of articles written about why portholes are actually a really cool way to be able to see the outside. We do have one owner suite on each of these ships as well that has butler service, a stock mini bar, and all kinds of extra amenities. And then we go to the Royal Clipper. The Royal Clipper is the largest of our 3 vessels. She has a little over 100 staterooms, holding slightly over 200 guests. And she even has 14 balcony cabins. So if you are interested and have a balcony, yes, you can have it even on a beautiful sailing vessel. She has over 54,000 square feet of sail. So again, looking up at that ship, it will literally take your breath away. And she has not 2, but she has 3 swimming pools. But I love this slide because on the left side, it shows the beautiful atrium inside of this ship. I mean, again, on that sailing vessel, it's hard to imagine that this is there. It's a beautiful dining room down at the bottom. And up at the top, there's a skylight that does happen to be the bottom of one of the 3 swimming pools. And if you look to the right of that, you'll see people sitting in that swimming pool. So it's really interesting. I say skinny dip at your own risk, but it's really beautiful at night because you can actually see through the water to the stars, and it's amazing. Again, the tropical lounge on the inside is a little bit larger because this is the larger ship. She's about as big as a football field and a half. So if you use that as perspective, so it's even bigger than the other 2. Again, the lounge area on the inside, tropical bar on the outside, and then again, that dining room, which is at the bottom of the atrium. Absolutely breathtaking, beautiful, wonderful service. The food is incredible. And again, the library, a little bit larger, great to get away, nice quiet place, play a game, relax. The ship also has a fitness center. So if you do need to get your workout in, you can certainly do that. But my favorite spot is the spa. This ship actually does have a spa with 3 treatment rooms. And while the 2 smaller ships do not actually have the spa, we actually do massage treatments way up high on an open air deck area. And it's really amazing. So you can actually have spa treatments even on the smaller ships without the true spa facility. And as I mentioned, the Royal Clipper does have this marina platform, so it's great. We can do all of the water sports right from there, whether it's doing the water skiing or hanging out on a float or doing some snorkeling. With the 2 smaller ships, again, they don't have the marina platform, but what we do is take all the water toys over to a private beach and then bring everybody to the beach and they can enjoy those. Again, on the Royal Clipper, this is a standard stateroom. It's either 1 bed or 2 beds, and we do have triples as well. The only accommodation that will hold 4 people on any of our ships is in the owner suites. This is an example of the deluxe private veranda stateroom where there's a door that goes out and there's a little table out there. It's wonderful to have your morning coffee out on your balcony or have a glass of champagne before you go to dinner. It's beautiful. And these are very sought after cabins. So if this is something that you'd like, please book early. We also have a category 1. This is a similar, a little bit of a junior suite where again, you have a little more room, a little sitting area. And I do want to mention that all of our staterooms have marble bathrooms from the lowest cabin all the way to the biggest cabin on board. But in the veranda cabins and the suites, we actually not only have a tub, we have a jacuzzi tub. So that's a nice treat if you're into having a jacuzzi tub. This is an example of one of the 2 owner suites on this ship. It has a separate dining area and bar, and it has a separate bedroom and bath. So there's a bathroom in the main area as well as a bathroom in the bedroom. So there's actually 2 bathrooms as well as this bed in the separate bedroom, and then there's an upper loft bed as well. So this is where you could actually sleep four. And because these two owner suites are side by side on the vessel, if you have a large family of 8, it's really nice because you're right next to each other. So let's talk a little bit about the destinations. Again, I think that's really, what makes our product so amazing, because to sail on these incredible vessels is really a treat. You sail close enough to the shoreline that you can, it's literally like scenery just going right by you. It's mesmerizing, and the ability to get into some of these small ports. So first, let's start with the Caribbean. We're in the Caribbean from the end of November until the end of March. And we sail primarily from Barbados or St. Martin. Royal Clipper sails from Barbados and sails either a Windward itinerary one week and then the next week a Grenadine Island itinerary. Star Flyer sails from St. Martin and does the Leeward Islands one week and the Treasure Islands the next week. So the Leeward Islands visits Nevis, Dominica, beautiful island of Ile-de-France, Deschutes, Antigua, and St. Bart's. So it's a beautiful itinerary, again, going to some of the smaller islands that you don't normally see on a typical Caribbean itinerary. The Treasure Islands are basically the British Virgin Islands. It goes to Anguilla, Virgin Gorda, Tortola, Jost Van Dyke, Norman Island, St. Kitts, and St. Bart's. And what I do want to say also about the island of St. Kitts, for example, while there are a lot of other cruise ships that go there, what we do is we'll drop people off at the main shopping area, but we'll take the ship around to the other side of the island where it's not so crowded, which is a really nice feature because we try to keep people away from the crowds if we can. The Grenadine Islands itineraries on Royal Clipper. Again, it sails from Barbados, going to Grenada, Tobago Cay, St. Vincent and Bequia, Martinique, and again, in St. Lucia, we go to the other side of the island where it's not as crowded in Soufriere. The Windward Islands visit St. Lucia, Dominica, Antigua, St. Kitts, and Ile-de-France, again, and Martinique. But one of the best things of all about the Caribbean itineraries is that every other week, Royal Clipper and Star Flyer actually meet at a port and they race each other. And there is nothing more exciting because everybody's on their ship yelling for their ship and they're racing along, and it's just a thrilling experience that you're not going to find anywhere else. Now, we also do have Panama Canal sailings, and we do go all the way through the canal. And starting in the winter of 2022 to 23, we're also going to have a sailing that goes into Costa Rica, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So the Mediterranean is where we spend the entire summer from the end of April until the beginning of November. And again, our Mediterranean itineraries are spectacular. We sail the Western Mediterranean from Cannes, going all through Monaco, Saint-Tropez, Corsica, all different islands in Corsica. There's so many beautiful ones, and Bandol, as well as we visit all through Italy. We have sailings round trip from Rome going to the Amalfi Coast and Sicily, but we also have sailings that go from Rome to Cannes, so you get more of northern Italy and Cinque Terre and some of the wonderful places in the northern part of the country. Our Croatia itineraries, I can tell you, are a number-one seller. Round trip from Venice, they sail some of the most beautiful places in Croatia: Zadar, Var, Vis, Kirk, Cres, Revenge, Korčula, Dubrovnik, of course, and Kotor in Montenegro. And it's so beautiful in Croatia because every place that you stop is going to be so different. One is nothing but lavender fields. Others are rocky hillsides and forts. The water is incredibly beautiful. It's an incredible destination, but just sailing from Venice alone is an experience on Star Clippers. because we still dock right across from St. Mark's Square and sail through the Grand Canal under full sail, and it is so beautiful. Everybody's taking pictures on land as well as, of course, on the ship. Oops, sorry about that. And then there's our Greek Islands sailings. Oh, the Greek Islands are so amazing on Star Clippers. We do a lot of the Cyclades islands, and we visit, for example, the Southern Cyclades, round trip from Athens, going to Rhodes, Bodrum, the Dalian River, Santorini, and Hydra, or the Northern Cyclades, which is Athens, Kushidasi, Patmos, Amorgos, Mykonos, and Spetses, which is a beautiful little island that the only way to get around is either by walking or by horse and carriage. It's truly, it's where a lot of the rich and famous from Europe go to visit. So it's a beautiful boutique little island. Then we also have the Sporades highlights. This is Sporades Cyclades also. Is beautiful. And we started these a few years ago, and we actually, in this itinerary, is one of the highlights is Skiathos and Skopelos. Now, you may not think you've heard of those, but they were the original islands in the original Mamma Mia movie. So it's the island where like the fathers met, and Skiathos and Skopelos, and one of them is where the church way up on the hill is. So it's pretty incredible, and we do play a lot of ABBA music on board the ship during that sailing, and we do visit the film sites as well. So Star Clipper has been in Southeast Asia for the last several years, and in April, this coming April, she's going to move to the Mediterranean, and she's got some really incredible sailings, and there's still availability on this, where a lot of the other sailings on Royal Clipper and Star Flyer have been full, but these are some really wonderful itineraries that are still open. She's first going to go through the Suez Canal as she repositions from Asia, and go into through the canal through Alexandria, and then go stop at several different Greek islands, including Santorini and Monemvasia, and end up in Athens. Then she'll do more of Greece and Italy, visiting Monemvasio, Pylos, Lavkas, Lipari, Sorrento, and go on into Italy and end up in Rome. And then she's going to do some Western Mediterranean with Italy and Sardinia, visiting the Aeolian Islands, Messina, Sicily, again, the Amalfi Coast and Sorrento, going up into the Pontine Islands, as well as Portoferrero, visiting Elba, and visiting Sardinia. So this is a great itinerary as well, where you can get a little bit of Italy, a little bit of Sardinia, and of course, Sicily. And then when she goes into the French Riviera, she'll be sailing from Cannes, going to Bonifacio, which is one of the most incredibly beautiful islands in Corsica, Calvi, Saint-Tropez, Le Lavando, Portico Beach, and Monaco. So you are not going to be disappointed in any of these itineraries, especially visiting them on a beautiful sailing vessel. One of the other really benefits for being on a vessel like ours is that we're small enough to go into the harbors, the yacht harbors. And so you can literally get off the ship and go right into the various ports of call. Otherwise, we do have our own tenders if we have to tender. So it's very easy. We go back and forth every 15 minutes, and it's very easy to get around and get to and from the ship. So Central America, I mentioned this earlier, starting in November of 22 through March of 23. This is really amazing. We're going to do Costa Rica and Panama on one itinerary, and the next week will be Costa Rica and Nicaragua. So for any of you that may have already been to Costa Rica, it's a fabulous place where you will see amazing wildlife and the most beautiful forests and beaches and beautiful clear crystal water at all of these incredible places that you'll visit. It's so biodiverse and so different. And the rainforests are incredible. You can do zip lining. But what's interesting is we're approaching Costa Rica and Panama from the Pacific side. And what that means is that to get to a lot of the marine parks and the national parks they have there, if you fly into San Jose, Costa Rica, which most people do, and you try to drive a car into some of these places, the roads are very rough. And sometimes it'll take you 2 or 3 hours to even get there. Whereas by taking a ship, one of our ships, you can actually be right there because we're approaching it from the seaside. So the itineraries, again, as I said, are amazing. We're visiting Quepos, we're visiting Nicaragua, from Isla Tortugas, Iguana Island, marine, and a lot of these beautiful marine parks. So this is, again, not only great for wildlife, for all kinds of birds, all kinds of vegetation, and beautiful, beautiful beaches. So I'm going to take these last few slides and I'm going to just answer a few questions that we get a lot. And some of you may have been thinking about these, so I'm happy to answer more questions, but I'm just going to go through a few of these frequently asked questions. The first thing that we hear a lot is, boy, that ship is really small. I think I'm going to get seasick. And I just don't do well. Well, the one thing I want to tell you about sailing with us is that it's a very, very different motion than when you're on a cruise ship. And what I mean by that is because we're moving under the power of wind, the wind pushes our vessels through the waves. So we sit very deep in the water. And we have a keel, and that's a natural stabilizer. So if you think about the wind doesn't push you back and forth sideways. It's one steady motion. So if there is motion on the ship at all, it's front and back, which is like sitting in a rocking chair. And that actually calms your inner body. And most people that are prone to seasickness do not get sick on our ships because the motion is steady and smooth and just in one direction. It's the side to side that makes a lot of people sick. And the reason they get sick on bigger ships is because they have a shallow hull and sit on top of the water. And so the waves bounce them around in all different directions. That doesn't happen to us. I always recommend that if you are prone to seasickness, that you should bring your medicine, but more than likely you won't need to use it. Another question we get a lot, well, how much does this cost? It looks really expensive. And what's included? Well, pricing, believe it or not, is not that expensive. A 7-night cruise in the Mediterranean, for example, will start at about $2,300 to $2,500 Canadian for a whole week. So it's really not that expensive. If you get into more of a middle category, so not the highest, not the lowest, it'll be maybe around $2,800 to $3,000 a person. So again, not very expensive. And what does it include? It includes everything on board, all of your food, accommodations, entertainment, as well as, of course, all the water sports. And while we don't include the alcoholic beverages, they are very, very inexpensive on our ships. They will, for example, you can still buy a beer for around $3. You can buy a cocktail for $4 or $5, a really nice glass of wine for $5 or $6, or a bottle for $25. It's not expensive. Most people are shocked by how inexpensive it is. So don't worry about that. We also do offer shore excursions, but again, because we go to so many small, tiny ports of call, a lot of people like to just go visit and wander on their own and, have lunch in the little seaside cafes and go through the local markets. So you have that choice. You can do that. Or if you want a shore excursion, we do also offer those. And most are under $50. Now we have some that are a little bit more elaborate that might cost more, but again, very, very reasonable in cost. So we also hear, do I have to work on the ship? Or can I help pull a sail up? Can I help sail? I want to do that. And the answer is no, you don't have to. But yes, you can help. If you'd like to sail or you're a sailor yourself and you want to lend a hand. The crew is willing to let you help with supervision, of course. And sometimes we actually throughout the sailing week, we have contests of the men or versus the women or whatever it is, but it's truly fun, but it's very, very hard. Those sails are huge and they're really hard to pull up. Is there more than one dining room? And what if I have food allergies or a special request? Well, the truth is there is not more than one dining room, although as you can see here, sometimes we do offer a lunch buffet out on deck to make it a little bit more festive. And of course, now with the COVID restrictions, the food will be served to you. But there is just one dining room, and again, all open seating. So there's a certain number of hours the dining room is open and you can come and go as you please. If you do have a special request, for example, if you need gluten-free or you need a low sodium diet, we can certainly accommodate that as well. Probably the only special dining we can't accommodate is kosher meals because we don't have a kosher kitchen. So that is the end of my presentation. I hope you found that interesting, and I am ready to open it up for questions if you have any.
Thank you so much, Terry. I just loved it. What a beautiful, beautiful product. What a different product, I think, from anybody who's been on a river or an ocean cruise. A lot of those ports of call that you talked about, small little towns that are beautiful. Some of them I don't think anybody had ever heard of. So if you're looking for a product that is intimate and gets you into beautiful, beautiful little ports, I think Star Clippers is definitely one. So we do have some questions. And let me just get to some of the question about the bedding. Can there be 2 beds in any of the cabins, or can you get a king bed?
Yes, when the beds are together, they are typically king beds. And there are some staterooms that actually have a fixed king bed, and there are some staterooms that you can have 2 twins. So when you make your reservation, you just have your travel advisor tell us which kind you'd prefer.
Okay, perfect. A question about how does one choose the best Caribbean cruise? Is there one itinerary that you think is a little bit better than another? Maybe one good for first-time cruisers or less experienced?
I think I love our Caribbean itineraries, and my suggestion would be try one of them that actually where the 2 ships meet and they race, because that is such a wonderful experience. I would say do that. Although, I love the British Virgin Islands. I mean, going to Joost van Dyke, where you actually have to do what they call a wet landing, meaning there's no dock. So we take a tender in and you have to jump out in the water. That's fun. But there's also, the Grenadines are fabulous. If you're a sailor, the Grenadines are the best to sail. And there's always one island that the captain will take you that's like unnamed, and we'll bring in food into the island and do a big beach barbecue and have the water sports there and play all kinds of beach games. So that's fun too.
That sounds
so
fabulous.
I don't think you can go wrong with no matter which one you choose.
Okay, thank you. Pool accessibility. You talked about the pools. Are there specific hours the pools are open? Are they open all day and all night?
There's usually a time where they will close it to make sure it's clean and, do all of the things they need to do to make sure it's safe. But during the day, usually it's open pretty much most of the time, I would say. I don't know. I don't think there's any set hours. I think it's only closed when they're cleaning, or if we're really at a point where we're coming into port or something.
Okay. It looked like your itineraries are very port intensive. Are there any days at sea?
On sub itineraries, you will find like one day at sea, which frankly is my favorite day, because I love just sitting up on deck and the wind is blowing and you just moving along under that wind. It's just such an amazing feeling. But we are port intensive. So typically most of the time are at a port every day. and then we sail at night. And the best thing about sailing at night is that we've added this new lighting system on board the ships. So we play this amazing music, and that we have a colored LEDs that change the sails into all different colors. So, and it's synchronized with the music. So it can be red or it can be green, and it's, oh my God, it's just so awesome. And you'll never see brighter stars in your whole life than on our ships.
Sounds fabulous. You did talk about a little bit about nightlight or about entertainment, local entertainment on the ship. Is there a show or evening entertainment every evening?
Well, we don't have Broadway shows or anything like that. We have always an entertainer or two or three that will be either playing music, or sometimes we play, we have it like a talent show where the crew is in the talent show, and sometimes the guests can be in the talent show as well. I remember being on one sailing where there was a guest that got in front of the piano and played jazz music like I've never seen in my life. And it was amazing. So it's kind of shared by everybody. Sometimes we have a fashion show from our sloop shop, which is our little gift shop we have on board. But there's always something going on, whether it's music and dancing, or sometimes we'll have a lecture during the day, you know, which talks about the places we go, or it might explain the history of sailing to those areas. So there's always something really interesting going on.
All right. You did talk about coming into small ports. I assume most of the time the ship comes right into the city. Are there times though that you will have to tender, and what type of tenders do you use?
Yes, there are many times that we do have to tender because of the fact that our ship does sit very deep in the water. So if it's a shallow port, we do have to tender, but we have our own tenders that we use, that we literally drop down from the side of the ship, and there's a railing, and we help people down. It's actually very sturdy, and you get into the tender, and we've usually got two tenders that just go back and forth. And that might not sound like a lot, but believe it or not, it's enough because there's just not that many people on board.
Obviously, being in very port intensive, could you give us an idea of approximately time that you would spend in port?
Yeah. For example, when you go to the Greek islands, let's say, visit a beautiful port of Monemvasia, and we'll get there probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you'll have time to either take a tour, or if you want to go into one of the little towns, you can do that. There's a beautiful monastery literally stuck in the side of a mountain in that island. And you can take a little short excursion to go up there. Or if you'd rather go to the beach, you can do that. And typically, you know, we'll be there until, if everything shuts down at 6, then we'll go. But we like to be the last ones in port. When we're in Mykonos, to give you an idea, because there's a lot of activity going on, even at night, we usually don't leave until midnight. So if you want to go into the city and have dinner that night, or see some kind of entertainment in Mykonos, you can certainly do that. So if there's something to do, we'll stay there longer. And if not, we'll take you out to sea on your magical sailboat.
Wonderful. You talked that that alcoholic beverages were not included. What about things like coffees, lattes, juices, soda pop?
Yeah, that's all included. All
That's
your
all
coffees
included.
and teas and all of that. Yeah. And we've been, you know, as you can imagine, we've been, we like to say we were green before green was cool, because we're moving under the power of wind and we're not using all the fuel and all those things. So on board, we will typically give everybody one big bottle of water in their room. And then we have purified water fountains all over the ship that you can continue to fill them, because we don't want to continue to have a lot of pollution and waste. So we typically will do that. And obviously that's free.
Fabulous. So I noticed you do Caribbean and you do Mediterranean. Are there transatlantic?
Yes, there are transatlantic sailings going to and from Europe in the spring and the fall. And I can tell you that once we open up the sailings so that people can book them, usually within about a week, they're full because people really want to do that. Now, it means 15 days at sea without touching land. So you have to be a pretty hardy sailor to do it. But it's interesting. One of our loyal guests that has been sailed with us for years, on Facebook, he actually every day chronicled one day as he did the crossing. And I was absolutely mesmerized. It was so interesting. I would have never guessed that many days at sea would be that great, but it really, really was. So if you get a chance to do it, do it. It's truly amazing.
You had a lovely picture of the person on the netting on the bow.
Yep.
Is there any length? Is that just kind of a photo op, or can somebody just lie out there for as long as they want based on weather? Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. When I first took my husband, I lost him to the bowsprit. So if I couldn't find him, all I had to do is go to the bowsprit, and there he was, because he loved it.
Oh, it looks absolutely fabulous. Any availability for 2022?
For Caribbean, yes, we do have some availability. Very limited on the Royal Clipper, but we have fairly decent availability on the Star Flyer, which is the one leaving from St. Martin. And then in the Mediterranean, we have quite a bit of good space on Star Clipper, sailing from Athens or, from Rome or from Cannes. So you've got choices of, where you want to go. And we are actually open for sale all the way through November of 2023. So if you can't find the perfect itinerary for next year, check for the following year, because we have that available for you as well.
And you shared with us a little bit earlier before we started that you're going to be opening up until March of 2024, fairly soon.
Yes, very shortly we'll open up all the way through March of 24.
All right.
People are planning early.
People are planning early. So thank you so much, for this wonderful presentation. I think it's, something that's definitely going to be on my to-do list. So I just want to remind everybody that travel is starting. It is time to start thinking of where you want to go for 2022, 2023, and even 2024. We've all lost 2 years of vacation. There is high demand. And as Terry had said, there is some shortage in space for certain times. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your past travels with us. We look forward to planning your future trips. Reach out to your Expedia Cruises consultant if you have any questions. Let us start helping you plan for your next vacation. Remember to follow us on Facebook. Also check out, each location has a YouTube channel where this and all our video presentations will be posted, recorded, and posted. Next week, in respect of Remembrance Day, we will be taking a break, but we will be back on November 18th, and our presenter will be Sunwing, featuring Riu and Blue Diamond Resort Vacations. So thank you, Terry, again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, everyone.
And we look forward to planning your next dream vacation.
Come sail away.
Bye-bye, everyone.